Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be doing things slightly different. As you can tell so far in this video, I do not have my screen recording with me. So I'll be trying out something new in today's video. If you're watching this video, you are probably currently losing money in the stock market. And I want to share with you how I became profitable in the stock market after I realized these two things. I think generally most people are a bit touchy when it comes to the subject of money. And when it comes to money in the stock market, it is no different. That is why to start off this video, it's not abnormal to lose money in the stock market. Very few people are profitable when they start out in the stock market. In fact, some of the most successful people in the stock market was not profitable when they first started out. In fact, it's not only most people who start out in the stock market who are unprofitable. A majority of people continue to be unprofitable in the stock market even after a while. According to popular opinion polls, 90% of participants in the stock market remain unprofitable. And that is why I believe that if you are currently unprofitable in the stock market, it's not the end of the world. In fact, when I first started out in the stock market a couple of years ago, I was also unprofitable. And I actually lost $1,000 in one of my positions in the stock market. And while $1,000 might not seem a lot right now, it was a huge part of my capital back then. So I had my fair share of losses back when I first started out in the stock market. In fact, I still do experience losses in the stock market right now. However, despite these losses, I'm still able to be profitable in the stock market now. And I started being profitable in the stock market when I realized these two things. And I believe these two things have also created some misconceptions. The first misconception that participants in the stock market have is that they believe in order to be profitable, the stocks that they hold have to always rise in price day in and day out. And that is certainly a myth. Even the stocks of the best companies in the stock market do not rise in price always. And neither do we need stock prices to rise always for us to be profitable in the stock market. There will be days in the stock market that we will have losing positions. However, this does not mean that we'll be unprofitable in the stock market. And I want to highlight the difference between losing positions and losing money. We can have losing positions in the stock market, but that does not mean that we'll be losing money. But the opposite is not true. If we are losing money in the stock market, then we'll definitely have losing positions. And that is an important distinction. Let me define what losing positions is. We might have a losing position in a stock if we enter a buy order too soon. The stock might decline for a while after we have bought. And since the stock is in the red, that will be a losing position. However, the losses are just paper losses. We only lose money when we exit our positions. But if we have did our research and we have identified the company to be a fundamentally strong company, then we know that the stock price of the company will rise over time. So while it might be a losing position right now, over time if we have identified the correct companies, the stock price of the company will rise and we will be profitable. So that is why we can have losing positions at the start, but still be profitable in the stock market over time. Stock prices never rise up all the time, and there will definitely be times where we have losing positions in the stock market. However, this losing position does not mean that we will be unprofitable in the stock market. If we have identified fundamentally strong companies, we know that the stock price of these companies will rise over time. And that is the first misconception. And once I understand the difference between losing positions and losing money in the stock market, I started to become profitable. The second misconception or mistake that many participants in the stock market make is this. They only focus on how to make returns and ignore risk management. As a person who is interested in the stock market, you've probably seen on social media about people talking about their returns that they are able to make. But they are only showing you the good side of things. What some of them don't tell you is the huge risk that they took in order to generate such returns. For example, they might be able to generate 50% returns, but in the process, they are taking 100% risk. What this means is that for every dollar that they make, they are risking $2 of their own capital. So while 50% returns might seem impressive on the surface, if you take into account the risk that they are taking in order to achieve such returns, then those 50% returns does not seem as impressive as before. If we have a fair two-sided coin, heads you win $500,000, but tails you lose $1 million. If we only take a look at the possibility of winning, then the $500,000 by itself seems really great. However, we cannot ignore the risk. Because in a fair two-sided coin, there is always a possibility that we might draw tails. While we might get lucky the first couple of times, but over time and over a number of flips, it is not a wise strategy. And that is the second mistake that most participants in the stock market make. They focus too much on the absolute returns and ignore the risk to reward ratio. But in fact, it should be the other way around. In the stock market, if you're making 10% returns by risking only 5% of your capital, over time you'll definitely be better off compared to someone else who is making 50% returns but is risking 100% of his capital. And once I understand this concept, it really changed the way on how I approach the stock market. So if you're currently unprofitable and losing money in the stock market, here's what to do. Understand that it's normal and okay to have losing positions in the stock market once in a while. Not every position will be a winning position right from the get-off. It might be a losing position at first, maybe because you entered the position a bit too early. However, over time, the stock price of these fundamentally strong companies will rise, and you'll end up making money and being profitable. So losing positions does not equate to being unprofitable in the stock market. The second thing that you can do if you're losing money in the stock market right now is to emphasize on protecting the downside rather than focusing on the upside. This means that instead of prioritizing how much return that you are able to make, prioritize by controlling your risk and minimizing the losses that you are taking in the stock market. I'm not saying to ignore the upside potential of a stock, because in order to be profitable in the stock market, the stock must have upside potential and must be able to generate for you returns. However, if you want to be profitable in the stock market over time, you need to focus on good risk to reward ratio rather than focusing solely on the absolute returns. And I think this is also an important point to take note. It takes time to become proficient in the stock market. It does not happen just like this. Right? So similar to mastering any other skill, knowing the theory is important, but to really master the skill, it takes time and practice. That's why dentists have to hone their craft over a period of time to become really good at it. We also do not become fit immediately after attending one gym session. We have to put in the time and exercise regularly. The same thing is true for the stock market. In order to be profitable in the stock market, we have to put in the time and practice on top of the theory. So in this video, I managed to share with you some of the theory and the 2 things that I have realized that have helped me become profitable in the stock market. If you have learned something from today's video, do drop a like because it will really help this channel grow and allow me to produce more content such as this. If you want to learn more about investing, trading, and the stock market, make sure you check out my channel because I have videos which I believe can help you in your investing and trading journey. I'll see you in those other videos to your financial success.